Hello, everybody. You're listening to the Big Chill Podcast. This is episode 651. Grealish gets to party again. Hello, Big Chillians. Welcome back to the Big Chill Podcast. I'm Frank, joined as always with Eddie. Eddie, how's it going?
Things are going pretty well for me. I think listeners are going to automatically be able to identify a slightly hungover voice coming from one of us. And it's not me. I didn't realize Jack Grealish was going to join the podcast today. But nice to have you.
Hey, ever since City won, it's been nonstop partying over here in Vancouver, Canada.
Clearly. Yeah, obviously had a good night out.
They call it Mini Manchester.
Yeah, well, no, yeah, you look slightly hungover and you definitely sound slightly hungover. So how was your night?
I feel great. Yeah, it was good. I mean, I just want to be, upfront right at the beginning here and apologize to the city of Vancouver because they were up 3-2 against the Edmonton Oilers in their playoff series, and then the day I landed, they proceeded to lose 2 straight games and get knocked out of the playoffs. So for that, I apologize.
The Duca curse, it's difficult to overcome. It's the greatest obstacle in sports. Yeah. Did you have a layover in Denver on the way to Vancouver?
No, but I will be in Indianapolis soon. So if there's any teams in the Indiana area that are looking to get on a losing streak, let me know.
The Fever are on a losing streak, so you can't jinx them. The Caitlin Clark effect hasn't really taken off. Quick WNBA topic. Obviously, this is wading into slightly controversial waters, but I don't know. I presume you saw that they're all flying on chartered planes.
Yeah,
it's going to cost the WNBA $25 million a year. Now, I don't care, whatever. I don't know why you would be so desperate to fly on chartered planes personally. I think because it's normalized in American sports, it's felt like they were being treated like second-class citizens by not having it. But, again, we look at European.
I mean, the nice thing, I guess the main thing would be the ease of getting to somewhere specifically when you want. Whereas if you find a flight and then if there's delays, it could cause some issues with, getting ready for the game and stuff.
I guess, but again, European teams, obviously the big teams are all using private planes and stuff, but the vast majority of clubs in England, for example, are traveling by coach.
Because it would be like an hour flight.
These guys, but they're doing the same. You know what I mean? They're going to charter to
that tiny island of England. Oh, hard to travel around.
That big flight from Indianapolis to Chicago. It's. I understand what you're saying. There are instances where that's a big trip, but there are plenty of instances where they're going to be using a chartered plane for a 45-minute flight where they could have hopped on a direct flight if they'd wanted to. You're right. The big benefit is you can get on a flight after a game to already get to the next location or get home, even if it's 2 a.m. when you're leaving, and you can avoid having to have a layover. But it did raise. I saw an article where they said instead of this, every WNBA player could have had their salary doubled. Which one would you have chosen? Double your salary or fly chartered?
Ooh, I spend a lot of time in airports, and I don't like those people.
Come on, you're not George Clooney and up in the air. To me, it's a no-brainer.
It's crazy.
I would take doubles.
That's a crazy fact there.
I mean, obviously, I understand why. Again, someone like Caitlin Clark doesn't really care because her WNBA salary is sort of inconsequential relative to her overall earnings. But yeah, I mean, I would take the extra pay and sit up, especially assuming that they're flying, first class or business on these flights anyway. All right, I guess we can focus then on Manchester City winning their 4th straight Premier League title. There wasn't a ton of drama on Sunday in the end. They scored after 90 seconds. They were.
Well, I was going to say, why don't you break it down for me? Because unfortunately, I could not watch the matches except via Flash Score. So it was quite an unfortunate situation that I was caught up in. And for me, I mean, it looked like very early, like, oh, it was done, it was over. City went up 2-0, and then West Ham scored right before the end of the half, correct?
Yeah, it was 2-1, and that kind of coincided with Arsenal equalizing after they had been down 1-0 to Everton. But, even then, it didn't feel like West Ham were going to get back on level terms at any point against City, and then they eventually got the third goal. Foden got his second of the day. No, so Rodri got the third even. It, yeah, it just, in the end, there was very little drama. It was just everything went sort of as expected. The only drama, in a sense, was at the Emirates because Everton played well against Arsenal. They took the lead via a deflected free kick, and they gave Arsenal a legitimate run for their money. And it looked like all of a sudden that City were going to win with a relatively comfortable gap at the top of the Premier League. In the end, I want to say this to any Arsenal. I know I'm on an anti-Arsenal campaign over the course of this entire season, so I may wrap up the season with an anti-Arsenal message. Their second goal should have been disallowed for a handball in the build-up to the play. I don't want to hear any Arsenal supporter complain about VAR anytime soon. As it turned out, that goal didn't matter, but still, the fact that that goal was not disallowed when it is such a clear and obvious, the handball rule has been applied so inconsistently over the course of the last year or two, and oftentimes laughably, to be honest with you. But this, he's clearly lent into the ball. The ball's, he's controlling it with his arm. Like, there's no doubt
Yeah.
about it. So that's the only thing. I don't want to hear any complaints out of any Arsenal fans anytime soon of, well, if this thing had changed, we would have had an extra 3 points, because you should just strip 2 points off your total right there and then. But in the end, it goes back to it. They were so delighted with that draw against City. That's when they lost the Premier League. They showed zero intent then, and they lost it. But, it's true. People have commented on the fact that City, there's kind of a indifferent response to City winning another Premier League, which I think is somewhat the case for a number of reasons, both because of the amount of money they've spent, the allegations that are against them in terms of the way they've broken financial rules, and then just the fact that it becomes a bit boring when the same team wins it every season. But we'll see. I'm sure it will be shaken up soon. Pep Guardiola said he has 1 year left on his contract, and at the moment he's leaning more towards leaving than he is staying. So if Guardiola leaves, then that's at least going to cause some disruption for City, and we'll see where they go from there.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things I want to bring up, obviously, is how long as a manager do you think you go before this starts to get a little boring, where you want like a new challenge?
I think nowadays managers don't have that kind of approach where they want to just build things for multiple teams and generations and be there. Alex Ferguson never got bored. He retired because he was in his 70s. So you're talking about someone who dominated the English game for 30 years basically on near on.
Because it's not something you see in American sports almost ever, right? I mean, if you have a coach and he's winning at a team, he's never leaving that team. I mean, you look at Bill Belichick. I mean, maybe no one wanted him, but no one wanted to deal with the Bill Belichick hassle. But you get a great coach, and that you keep that coach there for as long as you possibly can. But you see, I feel like a little more turnover in European football, where people want to like build and then achieve and then move on and build again.
It's not the club, right, not wanting to keep them. So it's the manager, and I think there's a couple of reasons for that, right? One of them, the simplest answer to that, compared with every American sport, is there's more jobs. If you think about it, if you're the head coach of a Super Bowl competitive team in the NFL, that means that you only really have maybe 4 or 5 other spots you could realistically go to and be instantly competitive. Whereas Pep Guardiola could leave Manchester City and go to a top team in any one of 3 or 4 other countries. He could become an international manager. There's a lot more options available to him than would be available to an NBA coach or an NFL head coach. So I guess that's the first difference. The second is, I don't know. I just think these managers nowadays, it's just been normalized in European football that you do it for maximum So I mean, he will have been there for 9 years if he sees out next season. And that feels like forever in the modern era. It didn't 20 years ago. Like Wenger stayed for a long time, Ferguson stayed for a long time. It was normal for someone to kind of see their career almost at one club once they'd really made it. And I don't know. I don't really like it. I don't like it because, especially with the recency bias and the way that people focus on the modern game, people will talk about, like, Guardiola can't be the greatest manager in the Premier League era to me until I've watched him rebuild a side on multiple occasions. And he's had to go through a slight rebuild, with losing the likes of like Company and Aguero. But realistically, the core of his team, Kevin De Bruyne was already there. There's a host of players who are either already in the City squad or joined very early on in the Guardiola process. And he's managed to keep, which is credit to him, he's managed to keep a lot of that core squad in place for an extended period of time. But, we watched Ferguson build basically 3 different dynasties. And it's like the argument that goes for why Belichick is great, is he rebuilt that Patriots team on multiple occasions. Okay, Tom Brady was still there, but everything else had to change around him. And that's impressive if you just do it with one set of players.
Okay, Tom Brady was there. Is that the comment you just made?
Yeah, well, no, but it's true. Like it's tough again, and to outlast, if you really do have a quarterback, to outlast your quarterback already as an NFL coach means you're going to have to be there for 15 plus seasons nowadays. So, it's hard to go through too many rebuilds under multiple starting head quarterbacks if you're doing well. But yeah, I think, and Guardiola, the argument in favor of Guardiola in terms of best club manager of all time would be the fact that he's gone, done it at Barcelona, done it at Bayern, now done it at City, whereas Ferguson, well, had success at Aberdeen, but then, big club in Europe, the only one he was at ever was United. But I don't know, I get a little bit bored of it. Same with the Klopp thing. Like, okay, cool, he retired or left Liverpool. And I understand it's a tough job. You need a break, but we kind of treat these managers at times with kid gloves. I'm sure you work really hard as a Premier League manager. I don't think you work that hard, relative to normal jobs and relative to what you're being paid. I don't exactly think being a manager. I think being a manager of like a team fighting relegation would be so stressful and tough. And there you would be in every day thinking like, where can I scrape a point somewhere? But realistically, you're going, oh, Liverpool, who are we playing this weekend? Sheffield United. Who do I pick? I guess the usual players. What do? We win 5-0. Oh boy, another tough week for Jurgen Klopp. But I know I'm simplifying it, but I don't know. I'd like to see some endurance from them.
Yeah, but it is so stressful when you actually have to play City and lose.
Yeah, no, I mean,
and there goes your season.
No, for sure.
Is now a failure.
It's stressful. It's high pressure. I understand. I'm not, but I don't know. I do think the European football scene as a whole, right? It has normalized a lot of, and this is coming off the back of obviously a couple of weeks ago where I complained about Graham Souness and Simon Jordan saying in my day, he used to, run uphill to get to the match. But in this instance, I'm not saying, obviously managers can leave. They're not indentured servants to the clubs that they work at. But I don't think we should say, I understand that much why he leaves. I think there should be some level of criticism when you're not going to a bigger job, when you're not taking on a new challenge. It's just, well, he needs to spend time with his family and it's been tough. I mean, that's the case. That's true for everybody.
Well, I mean, I guess with a City win comes a City celebration, and saw some good videos and pictures of Jack Grealish leaving parties at 5 a.m. pretty intoxicated. Could be one of my favorite parts about City winning the Premier League every year.
Yeah, I do think Grealish has to be a little bit careful because I think the charm of being the fringe player over the course of the season, but the lead player in the partying scene, I think that was endearing the first couple of times, but we're now on season 3 of it. And, you know, I get it. He's being who he is.
Let him be him, Eddie.
Yeah, but there would be that little bit of saying, let's maybe get your head down a bit and try and break into the side, try and stay fit. You've got an FA Cup next weekend. Try and make sure you're starting in the FA Cup final if you're available. Try and make sure you make the final version of the England squad. There's lots of things that he could do that it doesn't feel like he necessarily is. But I like it.
He'll be fine. He'll be ready.
No, but the thing is, you don't want your defining character trait when you retire from football to be greatest party when we won something I barely contributed to. That's he could just turn himself into a meme at this point. He's not too far off. And I like Grealish, and I think he's a good player. And I do think he's playing an increasingly important role in that City side. But, I don't know. If I were one of his friends or in his circle, I think I might say, hey, Jack, maybe don't get absolutely obliterated at this party.
If I were one of his friends in his circle, I'd be like, hey, Jack, let's fucking go.
Yeah, well, that's evident in your voice and look today, Frank, still. We can see that straight away.
In fact, I've been texting him all week. He just hasn't responded.
Wouldn't surprise me, just desperate DMs to his Instagram account. But yeah, no, I as I said, I like it. It is somewhat endearing, and he owns the fact that he's a role player. I think that's the saving grace he has under these circumstances. Is he's not someone trying to pretend that he was a significant part. He's humble and actually downplaying the contributions that he makes. But I do think he's got to be a little bit careful. I think this is it. I think trying to do that season 4 is a tough look.
Unless it's like the treble again.
If it's, I guess I'll also say that. If it's the final thing of the season and you don't have international football that summer, I'm more okay with it. I'm less okay. Yeah. They've got an FA Cup final this weekend and England's, the Euros this summer. And that's where I would say, look, you've been struggling with injuries and you're trying to get yourself fit and stuff. And maybe this isn't the best way to do that.
Wow, let's check in today and see what he's doing. I mean, it's only been 2 days since winning, so maybe he's done. Maybe it's out of his system.
48 hours seems more than long enough, and I guess it's worth saying. Then he has been included in England's provisional squad for Euro 2024. It's a 33-man squad that will be cut down to 26 on June 7th. So he, has at least done the first step in terms of representing England this summer. A few notable absentees from that preliminary squad. The 2 biggest are Marcus Rashford and Jordan Henderson. And this is...
Oh my God, about time, huh?
For Rashford, it's a real fall from grace. I mean, he's been in terrible form for Manchester United. He was left out of the squad in March. So I guess that was an early indication that he might not, that he's sort of struggling to make it. But yeah, it's still somewhat surprising for a player who obviously was so impactful for England in the last World Cup. It would have been almost inconceivable. I know we had conversations coming out of that World Cup of, is Marcus Rashford England's best player? And now he's not even in the squad. And the maybe slightly surprise inclusion, Adam Wharton from Crystal Palace, who moved from Blackburn Rovers in January and finds himself in the preliminary squad after only a couple of months in the Premier League, which is quite the achievement. I have no doubt that Adam Wharton is going to go on and be a excellent player for England in the future. I think this might be a little bit too soon for him, even though he has been incredibly impressive for Palace since joining. And he'll probably be one of the players who misses out over the next couple of weeks, just because, too, he has no England experience as of yet. So to stick him in a squad for a major tournament seems unlikely, although he's in a position where England do not have that much strength and depth. So it wouldn't stun me if he did squeak in, but it would surprise me.
Actually, Eddie, I had a question for you with this provisional squad. Quickly, I guess, because I think you could obviously work this out. How many players aren't on an England domestic club?
Who are in this preliminary squad?
Yes.
Well, Jude Bellingham. And Harry Kane. And I think that's it, too.
Yeah.
It could have potentially been Henderson, obviously, with Ajax. I mean, for England, that's a ton. It's so rare to see English players playing abroad. So, especially to see two England players who will be starting in this tournament, that's unusual.
And will be major contributors.
Yeah, hopefully, unless something goes wrong. But no, it's
I mean, for me, the Rashford one is tough because exactly what you said. I mean, he was such a valuable contributor, and Southgate obviously is known to kind of keep his people close. So I was a little surprised, even with Rashford just not being there right now, that he didn't sneak in there. I mean, I guess you could say that about Henderson too, but I think the backlash from the last time Henderson was put on maybe just tipped the scale a little bit, where he couldn't justify still continuing to stick with them.
Well, the difference is too, Rashford is young enough that he has, should have an England career ahead of him with multiple international tournaments. Henderson is at the end of his race, so it's easier to leave Henderson out because you could basically say, look, you semi-retired when you made that move to Saudi Arabia anyway, and now we've moved on, and there are younger players who our future will be built around in central midfield. For Rashford, you would have thought he's coming into his prime and that he would have a few more major tournaments left in him, and he obviously might get it back into the England squad in the future. The tough thing for him is just the competition in the places that he plays. So, he's never been able to establish himself as a central attacking figure, either for Manchester United or for England. So when you are then saying, okay, we've got to play him out wide, and then there's just so much competition. And he definitely wouldn't be in the first 11 on the basis of, it's a genuine pick on selection based on form. And I mean, I think he could have made the strong argument that even of the players who've been left out in those types of position, like there was a better case for Jadon Sancho than there was for Marcus Rashford. So, Sancho not making it on the back of the form he's shown for Dortmund over the last few months, I think will surprise people in Germany. I don't think it surprises anyone in England because he's never really got back into the discussion. But, you could make a compelling argument for Sancho, whereas you can't really make that good of a case for Rashford. And I think if you're him, that's the concerning thing, is you look at the players who've been picked ahead of you in your position, and not only are most of them younger than him, they're also playing in great form and could just continue to get better. So that would be the thing that would be worrying. Just as yes, he should find himself back into an England squad at the moment, but he hasn't made a 33-man squad. And, again, Sancho could be edging him out in that type of position in the future anyway. It could be tough for him to get back in.
Yeah. And I guess the other notable absence, although probably not surprising, it was Ben White, right? Who Southgate said wasn't even contacted.
Yeah, I mean, Ben White's ruled himself out, so it would be weird if they were still contacting him after he said he has no interest in playing for England. And the big test with Ben White is, does he make himself available again after this summer, when you imagine that Gareth Southgate will no longer be England manager? I mean, I think if England don't win the Euros, he'll definitely be gone. I think even if they do win the Euros, he'll see that as an opportunity to step aside at the top and step aside as arguably England's most successful manager of all time. I mean, obviously, he doesn't have the World Cup under his belt, but to have, made it to, if they've won, to have won a tournament, made it to a major final, made it to a semifinal, that's a stronger series of results than any other England manager has ever had. So, yeah, the interesting thing will be if he steps back in once Southgate's gone. Even if he does, I don't think he should be considered at any point in the future. So, they should move on from Ben White. He's moved on from them. It's like an end of a relationship, and don't keep texting your ex-girlfriend or boyfriend hoping that we're just going to feed the ego at this point, and the super tans.
Well, they're not really exes though. They're like never was. They're like the one you took your shot with and didn't succeed, and you're just going to keep continuing to take your shot.
Well, I think the closer, I think if we're really going into like dating analogies, this is like you were playing the field a little bit, and Ben White was one of the boys England were kind of considering, and they were texting a little bit and maybe seeing each other in a bar, but they never went on a date. They never slept together, but in the back of the mind, England thought Ben White would always.
Oh, a date is just instantly sleeping together, Eddie? Is that your definition of a date?
Yeah, it's not a date unless you consecrate. But that's and then it turned out that Ben White decided to move on. That he didn't want to be left waiting for England, and that's okay. I don't agree with the decision. I wouldn't have done the same, but he shouldn't be considered for any England squad at any point, at any time.
So you think that's it? Like his never again now. So next World Cup, he changes his tune, says, actually I do want to play for England. I made a mistake. And you say, sorry, man, don't come back to this bar anymore.
So I would, if I'm the next England manager, which I have not ruled myself out of the job just yet. So if I'm next England manager, he will not be considered. I don't think Southgate would ever consider him again. It will be interesting to see if a new manager steps in. Does he decide, let's go clean slate, give Ben White a new opportunity? You could kind of almost use that as an opportunity to show how you're different from Southgate. But I don't think he should be. I think the FA should almost say this player is no longer to be considered for England duty. But, it's true that England aren't exactly blessed with a huge number of fullbacks, and Ben White's versatility also makes him a very interesting player to include in squads. But I don't know. I think if I were a fellow player, I would feel like you couldn't trust him anymore. He's left one England World Cup camp. He's unruled himself out of for future selection. If you're a teammate, why would you want him to be there? It's like, oh, you get to pick and choose when you play for England now. Can the rest of us do this? There's lots of players in that England squad who are going to go to the Euros this summer knowing that there's a very little chance that they're going to play. But see it as an honor and maybe even see it as an opportunity if the moment arises. But that's the nature of international football, squad-based sports. And Ben White sees himself as too big to be a squad player with England. Okay, then England, out of the two, England are far too big to worry about what Ben White's up to. So just move on.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a nice long season now ahead of tanning and fake tanning, and he's got a good summer ahead of him.
I mean, maybe that's what he really thought about. He was, summer in Germany, can't totally count on the weather. My tan could suffer. So
can't trust the fake tan salons in Germany. That's what I've heard.
Yeah. So he's waiting. He's waiting for those summer-based, international tournaments. That's what he really needs.
That he's just super pissed he didn't get the chance for Qatar. I mean, the possibilities there for the sun.
He was there. He left.
I know.
Maybe that's why he left. He thought he gets a great tan was going to waste. He had to get on the field. He wanted to be able to. He was going to even wait for the moment where his socks were going to slip down a bit, and then we're going to see 0 tan lines, and we didn't even get that opportunity.
Or shorts were going to slip up a bit.
Maybe take off his shirt. Look, no tan line there either. Still, I guess we'll obviously in the coming next couple of weeks, we'll do our Euros preview. So that's something for everyone to look forward to. There have been other squad announcements. So it's not that we're going to ignore everyone but England, but we'll have some episodes focused on that in the next week or two. I guess wrapping up European football, worth saying, Leverkusen won their final match of the Bundesliga. They sealed the first ever undefeated season in the history of the Bundesliga. They obviously have 2 matches to go in order to complete a pretty incredible undefeated on all fronts season. They have the Europa League final tomorrow night, and then the German Cup final, I think, is this weekend. If not, it's next weekend, but I think it's this weekend. They're obviously very heavy favorites against Kaiserslautern in the German Cup final. They're favorites in the Europa League as well. So good chance that they pull it off. Be annoying for them if they fell now at one of these final hurdles.
Yeah, that would be really unfortunate. And this got me thinking, what would the bigger odds have been? Starting $10, betting double chance every match and rolling it over, or at the start picking them to have an undefeated season.
So I think if you'd gone to a book, you would have had to ask for those odds, right? So I think you probably get, we're talking just Bundesliga undefeated season?
No, let's go undefeated.
Everything, I think they offer you 10,000 to 1, which I think is probably where they would just max out on an offer like that. I don't think they'd really offer you odds any bigger than that on anything. So I think they probably would have felt comfortable with that. I know that sounds, people listening would think that sounds crazy, but when you really think about it, the chances of being the first team to ever go undefeated in the Bundesliga, to also go undefeated in the Europa League, factoring in, even if you're going to win it, that you didn't have a group game towards the end where you'd already qualified, where you rest players, or a second leg, which they nearly had a couple of weeks ago, where they were on course to qualify, but you lose the second leg anyway. I think 10,000 to 1 is not even a good price. If going into next season,
terrible.
If you told me next season I could have 10,000 to 1 on
Dortmund,
but yeah, I mean it's tough to think of who the proper equivalent
is. I think Dortmund would be more favored to do that than they were this year, obviously.
Yeah, I mean would I take 10,000 to 1 on Bayern to go undefeated next season? No.
Hell yeah. What?
so there's who obviously they lost on the final day of the season and slipped to third. So really,
sorry. You're right. Let's say right before the start of the season, Harry Kane goes down with an injury. Then do you take them 10,000 to 1?
No,
undefeated.
I'm not leaning into the Harry Kane hate, but I think. Do you know what? I'm happy between now and when we next record, I will go back and look at what the odds would have been just rolling over double chance. I'll do that for you. That won't take me too. It's only 38 matches. It wouldn't take me that long. So
you've got nothing going on in your life. 38 matches. Go for it.
I mean, I could do it in 30 minutes. It's not exactly.
Let's just ask our intern to do it. Why do we have interns if we don't have
Sam, where are you? I was about to make a joke about I won't make it. Anyway. Yes. So no, I will personally invest my own time in figuring out that statistic. But yeah, that's an incredible achievement for them. Obviously, a host of other little cup finals coming up across Europe. French Cup final this weekend, the Champions League finals not too far away, and then we'll be done with European football for the season.
But we'll have Euros, so not too long.
Yeah. Yes. In other little sports wrap-ups, I guess we could say, what do we have? Tennis. Roland Garros starts next week, so we'll obviously focus a little bit more on that when that's underway. No big news coming out of the sort of preliminary tournaments, build-up tournaments towards that. Other than, I don't know, did you see Djokovic get hit on the head by a water bottle a week or so ago?
No.
He was signing autographs, and someone sort of leant over to hand him something, and they had a backpack on with their metal water bottle slipped into the bottle carrying section. And as they
Yeah.
leant over, it fell out and then landed on Djokovic's head. I gotta say, he made a meal of it, and then he lost the next day and basically implied that he had a concussion. He said he didn't feel well and that he felt dizzy afterwards. And
I love
it
it.
it's not a great look for tennis players. I mean, I love the sport of tennis, and I hate when people say, oh, these people are babies in this sport or whatever. It's not a great look. I mean, literally, if football players or rugby players were going down with concussion-like symptoms after similar impacts, no one would be playing after the first week of the season. So it's not super impressive. What other sporting stories? I guess I alluded to it. The Denver Nuggets in the end lost that series against the Minnesota Timberwolves. They played Game 7 on Sunday. They were 20 points up at one point in the third quarter. They became the first team to ever blow a 20-point lead in a Game 7 of the NBA playoffs. A fairly specific stat, but still. I have to admit, I went to sleep at halftime, and I thought, this is game over. The Nuggets are through. They're comfortable. Jokic was absolutely dominant in the first half. I saw no way back for Minnesota. And then I woke up, and it was one of those things. I looked at my phone to see the score, and I actually had to do a double take. I had
The
to not
double
only,
take.
I not only had to check with myself that the score I was seeing at the moment was correct. I had to go back and check that the score I thought I'd watched the first half, and I had to go back and tell myself, had I really watched the first half, had I fallen asleep and dreamt the first half, and then here we are, they've lost. And it turns out I did not dream the first half, and the score I was looking at the end was correct, and the Nuggets were out. Yeah, I mean, good to see the Timberwolves, kind of exciting team, but I felt kind of sorry for Jokic. He seems like such a likable person that it's a shame to see him get knocked out, and people use it as ammunition to kind of discredit his resume. But yeah,
We had the PGA Championship though, Eddie. You skipped right over that.
it's true. It's true. We spoke about it last episode. Xander Schaufelle won his first major, managed to hold on to his lead, birdied the 18th to win it.
18th.
He was facing a playoff with Bryson DeChambeau, and managed to. I don't like a tournament ending with this would be my one gripe. I don't like the par 5 on the 18th hole.
Yeah.
Like,
Unless it's a par 5 that can equally be birdied as it can be bogeyed. Do you know what I mean? Where like you have that one where like if you hit the bad tee shot initially, you could be really fucked. But if it's just a par 5 where most people are getting a birdie on it, I don't like it.
no,
If
it
it's
was
not like a challenging hole, because then it's just like, oh well, he just birdied on 18 to go to tie for the lead, and it's like, yeah, but then Schauffele's got to go on 18 as well,
yeah.
and he's gonna fucking birdie it too.
You
You know,
yeah.
like
You're just assuming that everyone is taking one shot off their score on the final hole. And also too, then even worse than in that situation where Schauffele's, finishing up and he's level. You knew there was no way he was going to bogey the hole. So it was like, well,
yeah,
worst case scenario here, he's getting actually bad par, and we're going to a playoff. But he has a really good chance because he actually didn't even play the hole that well. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't as if
no,
he sort
his
of,
tee shot wasn't very good.
yeah, and he still ended up with a 5-foot 5-foot birdie, 5-foot putt for birdie. So yeah, I don't love that. If I'm in terms of a lot of criticism goes into course design at the moment, I would rather just make that a par 4 for pros and just make it a really tough par 4. So do make it in like, hey, this is a par 4 that you're probably going to bogey. Like, don't even change the hole. And I would rather see that. And I guess in the end, it kind of doesn't make a difference, but it psychologically does, that you are going into a final hole expecting to drop a shot versus expecting to gain one. But yeah, that was the one thing I didn't love.
Yeah, but DeChambeau put up a good run. Our boy Victor Hovland, so close again. Another top 5 finish for Hovland.
Looked so happy the whole day, though. All Sunday, big smile on his face. Couldn't
Hey,
wipe it off.
he's living his dream, Eddie. After this, he gets a nice paycheck. He can get to his hotel, put on his heavy metal, hang out. He's so excited.
Oh, how much heavy metal do you think he plays after playing a course called Valhalla? I mean, that's just got to be.
That's why he actually played so well.
Yeah, that's got to be just a match made in heaven for him, and also obviously as a Scandinavian or a Norwegian. He's as a that even better. But no, it looked like he was going to really get into it at one point, and then he just sort of faded away right at the end. But it was an interesting tournament. The final day, there was it also looked like at one moment Schaufelle was kind of run away with it. He got a couple shots clear, and it looked like it was going to be kind of a no contest. And fortunately, between Hovland and Deschambeau, they managed to put a bit of pressure on him.
Let me ask you this: did it feel more fun or more entertaining that Scheffler wasn't involved? Or would that have been even better if Scheffler was up there?
I'm a little bit bored of Scheffler, so I wasn't disappointed that he wasn't directly involved. That being said, I do feel like, he's undoubtedly the best golf player in the world. And there is something nice to the idea, if you're going to beat him, that you beat him, that he's in the running and you come out on top of that sort of almost a match play scenario against him. Like had that been, instead of Deschambeau, had that been Scheffler for Schaufelle, I think it feels like, as stupid as this is to sound, a more significant or legitimate win. Whereas it's like, okay, you had Scheffler's off day and he got arrested during the tournament. And not that McIlroy is, but McIlroy had been in form coming into this tournament. It's like, okay, McIlroy kind of had an off Sunday too, but he's also going through a divorce. So you've got a lot of reasons to explain why a few players, weren't really at the races. But look, if I were winning it, I wouldn't care at all. They could all, break their legs on Sunday morning, and I would have happily stormed to a 90-shot lead. That would be
break their legs or break a police officer's legs by dragging them with their car.
Well, that's fine. You don't get in trouble with us for that. But no,
well, I mean, maybe not break legs, but maybe heavily abrase their pants the point of no repair.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess we talked about this. We talked about Scheffler last time. Like, to me, that's the difference between him and Tiger. Is like, I always wanted to see Tiger up there just because of like just who he was and like the energy and the enthusiasm and all of that. But it's like with Scheffler, it's just like, oh, here comes like this boring dude just gonna hit a birdie putt and have no emotion and walk over to the next hole. Like he doesn't have that energy and that charisma that Tiger had that made it just so fun, where like every tournament you want to tune in to see Tiger like somehow like hold on to a lead or have that comeback or be up there and intimidate people and like have the Tiger effect of other people going in. And it's like, but Scheffler just doesn't have that.
No, he is boring. And he's not boring in a robotic sort of Terminator style, which can be equally impressive. The just ice in the veins kind of, he just seems almost uninterested in he's just good at golf, but he doesn't really care in a sense that he is. I mean, I guess he's happy with his Lord and Savior and everything else is a bonus. But I will say, I don't think either of us are huge Deschambeau fans, but at least him being in the mix, love him or hate him, he's compelling to watch. So, I would rather him be in the running to win a tournament every time than Scheffler, because he'll at least show some emotion. He might do something stupid. He might do something incredible. Because I also think Scheffler's impressive in his consistency. I mean, he's nailing the game of golf, but he never hits a shot where you just think, I know we spoke about this post Masters, he doesn't hit shots where you think, oh my God, how did he do that? Like, no one else in this field could have hit that shot. Whereas Deschambeau does. Rory McIlroy hits those shots sometimes. There's a host of players. John Rahm sometimes hits shots like that, who do hit the ones where you think he's the only player today who could have really done that. Scheffler just is impressive because he's not missing, and okay, the variety in his game and his ability to adapt and hit, his iron play. I'm not trying to downplay how good he is. He's the best golfer on earth, but it's just the best in a different way, and it's not quite as exciting as a spectator. Elsewhere, anything else from the world of sport?
No, I mentioned the hockey. Two really good series coming up now. The Eastern Conference and Western Conference finals are going to start now. Had some pretty good series so far. It's good to see the Oilers continuing to move forward to, hopefully it's really nice when the best players in hockey, or best players, I should say, in any sport are at the, towards the end of the playoffs in there, because I think it does make people who maybe are casual fans or very casual fans, gives them more of a reason to maybe tune in than seeing like a random team that just has, a really good squad of above average players. But when you can see Connor McDavid, who is hands down the best player in the NHL, play in the playoffs and contribute, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I've watched the odd game actually so far, which is unusual for me, but I've watched a few, so we'll see.
It is crazy. Like, I mean, I love hockey, but I don't watch hockey very much. Like, I'll pull our friend Tim, and I'll like look at the game stats and look at that, but I don't generally watch that many hockey games. But once playoffs come, I think I watch almost every hockey game that's on television. It's like a complete 180. I mean, I'll like those first two rounds of the playoffs, I was spending, I don't know, like 6-7 hours a night just watching hockey. Like, I'd get home, I'd turn it on, and then by the time I go to bed, there'd just be like continual games going on.
You were the guy who 30 minminutes ago asked me if I had how much free time I have. And now you're talking about watching 7 hours straight of playoff hockey. But yeah, I mean, I look playoff anything. I'll say this. I'm going to do the thing I hate, which I say every time, and complain about a sport that I do not watch that much.
Oh, I thought you were going to just be anti-American.
Well, I kind of view Canadian as hockey anyway, so hockey is Canadian, even if I get that sentence the right way around. Intermission in hockey, way too long. I don't need that long between periods. Fix it. Like, you're watching a game that's just too long to... In stadium, in the arena, I guess it would be nice because you can go off and buy some food and drinks and do whatever.
So you want somehow to have a shortened intermission on the television, but have a full-length intermission at the game?
No, I'm not insane. I'm just saying, let's tighten it up, okay? I know it's a tiring sport and everything, but you can shorten that intermission by a little bit. And also, I know I sort of said it the other day, too, when I was talking about watching an overtime game. For a sport where it is next goal wins and a goal could kind of come from anywhere, I actually find overtime to be incredibly dull. Like, especially when you go in. I mean, I can't even remember the game. I watched the Dallas Stars. Who were they playing? They went to
Colorado.
They went to double overtime. The game they eliminated Colorado in Game 6. Right? It was boring. It really was pretty boring. They had one disallowed goal, but I actually think they could almost learn.
I think that's because the next goal wins is what kind of sometimes makes it boring, because everyone plays way more conservative.
Which is why they got rid of the golden goal, the same idea in football. Like, that's why they did it, because what they thought was, hey, we're going to have the next goal wins is going to make it so exciting, everyone on the edge of their seats. And then people are so risk averse and not wanting to lose that you get no goals, versus if you just said, hey, go and win the next 20-minute period, you might get a 5-4 period, which would be way better to watch. So there we go. When I'm commissioner of the NHL, that's how I will fix it. But only after I've been England manager first.
Do you think you could be the NHL commissioner?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I think I could be the commissioner of any.
Just one word. Yeah.
I think I could be the commissioner of any sport, and I don't mean that in a. I don't think that's a hard job. I think most people I know could be a commissioner of any sport. I mean,
No, I disagree because I know a lot of our friends are just too, let's use a nice word and say too passionate. They could never do it.
but no, I think, yeah, I think I could be a commissioner of a sport I've never watched. I mean, I think, I've at least seen a hockey game and have an understanding of the rules. I think I could be, like, I really don't think it's that difficult of a job. So yeah, I think I could do that 100%. The question would be, I thought you were going to go, could I coach hockey? Because that would have been, could I be could I be a head coach of an NHL team? I'll say no to that. You know my thoughts on baseball.
Wow.
I think anyone can be a baseball manager. I don't. To be fair, I don't really know what a head coach of a hockey team does, but I'm going to imagine understanding lineups and the shifts and stuff. You probably have to, and they've got like, actual plays that they run. You could obviously just delegate all of that. That could be your solution. But realistically, to do the job well, I don't think you could. I could be a baseball manager. For all I know, I'm the greatest baseball manager of all time, and I'm just never going to get the chance. That's, I'm willing to not rule that one out.
Would you be willing to start in the minors as a baseball manager and move your way up?
If I could get a documentary team to follow me, yes. If this is an Amazon Prime, Disney Plus,
that's it. They're not connected. So not only are you going to be a minor league baseball manager, but you're going to merge two major corporations just so they could film you.
You're taking everything I say super literally. Your hungover brain is not able to separate. There was a comma in there, which was the silence someone implied. But
first, I'm going to get Amazon and Disney to merge, and I'm going to run that merger because I am really good at merging.
It's true. But this, I think it would be such good TV that every streaming platform would probably want to carry it. But no, if you told me, because I'm imagining minor league manager salaries are terrible. And so that I wouldn't do. But if I got the bonus of a little bit extra, say you were giving me $200,000 a year, I'll do it. Just for the story, give it a go for a couple seasons. I don't know. I don't think there's
what a grind the minor league baseball manager must be.
Also, not a lot of progression from minor league manager to major league manager. Like, it's not as if I'm going to prove myself. Wow, that's the greatest minor league team of all. Because you're so beholden to the talent that you're then provided with by the other team anyway. Like there's only so much I could do. It's like, now talking about streaming platforms, one quick rant. I don't know. So there's speculation that Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney are buying a team in Mexico. And I just want to say, I already hate this. I already hate the Wrexham thing. If they're now buying multiple teams, then they really suck. Because you could convince me at least that, they care so much about Wrexham. They just fell in love with the place. And this is just a unique attachment that they have to this football club. And it means the world to them. And, they want to help the community. And they went, and now Mexico too. We got that as well. We really care about this club too.
Well, it would depend on how they approach it. If they just want to diversify their investments and they have interest in another club, in another league, that's fine. I'm okay with that. But if they then pull the, we're going to bring this Mexican community out of the slums and we're going to make it a great place and we're going to have this documentary on Hulu, then it's no, fuck off.
They're going to have the documentary. This is
you never know. You don't know that.
No, I will know it because it's too integral to their business model, right? So they need to. They're going to follow. I think they think to themselves, we can copy and paste what we did in Wrexham in a lot of places. And if anything, I don't know. To be fair, I'm assuming there might not be financial fair play rules in Mexico, so they may even be able to game the system even more easily in Mexico than they have done in English football. But I don't like owners in general owning multiple football teams. I don't like that the City Group owns clubs in multiple locations. I don't love it even when individual owners have a piece of one team and then a piece of another team in the other place. I think there should be a rule that But from FIFA, look, if you want to own a football club, you get one. That's it. Otherwise, you move on. But if you are going to be someone who on to be playing the this club is so special, it means so much to us card, and then go and get another one, it's tough. It's tough for me.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you. I mean, I think if it's literally just them kind of just buying it and they don't do the whole build up the community Wrexham like thing, then that's fine with me. But the minute that they just do the Hulu documentary, then it'll be like, all right, this is kind of BS now. Like, you're now exploiting your success that you said was like coming directly from your heart and how you just felt for this community to just, let's do it again. There's tons of communities that I can have such a great love for. I don't buy it. But I'll tell you what annoys me more in that situation is the amount of times I have to hear McElhenney be like, I'm down so much money on this Wrexham thing. Like, we've lost so much money. It's like, no, you haven't, because you fucking own the club, you jackass. Like, it's so stupid and so annoying, like the way they're trying to spin it. It's like, just be honest. Like, yes, you've put in a lot of money, but it's an investment. You've put it into something. It's like if someone buys $1 million home and they're just like, I am down $1 million. It's like, no, you have the home that's worth the million.
Well, also too, look, there's a chance that they may end up actually losing money from their, the time that they are in charge of Wrexham, just because that's the way owning football clubs go. Making a profit out of owning a football club is going to be really, really tough, unless they were to get to the Championship or even the Premier League and then be able to sell for, hundreds of millions or whatever it takes. So I might believe them that he's going to lose money from owning Wrexham, but his profile overall has increased exponentially as a result of
Insane.
this. So how do we calculate everything else that he's
Yeah.
benefiting from? It is like you're
The
right.
show alone.
Yeah, but it's just, like athlete, it's like an actor, or whatever, being like, well, I lost money doing that show. It's like, yeah, and then you got the endorsement deals as a result of that, and you got another job because of it. So yeah, I don't. The thing I also need to stop hearing him say is that he wants to own the Philadelphia Eagles or the Philadelphia 76ers. Just him throwing his hat into the ring to own every sports team.
And stupid flat brim hat that makes his head look so fucking massive.
All right, okay. All right.
Let's that stupid flat brim Wrexham hat all the time.
Let's not attack people with big heads, We don't have to go after everyone.
But we can attack short people.
But he is short too. What a fuck, huh?
he is the amalgamation of our podcast.
He's got the worst
with a big head.
He's got the worst of both of our attributes, but infinitely more successful than either of us, unfortunately.
I mean, if we wanted to be, we could be actors.
It's about 100%. I'm method acting every day, just for a role I've yet to get. But yeah, that's the only thing. And other big sports news I guess we should touch on before we move on to any other topics. There's obviously
I was gonna talk. Okay, go ahead.
The big boxing at the weekend. Usyk beating Tyson Fury in a split decision to become the first undisputed heavyweight champion since Lennox Lewis, I think it is. So 20-something years. It was a pretty enjoyable fight to watch. It looked like Tyson Fury was going to sort of dominate for a little bit in the middle rounds, and then he suffered a cut. But I also just think, going back to the kind of Terminator analogy, I think Usyk is he's a machine, and he just sort of figured things out as that fight wore on, and then just knew how he was going to dominate in the later rounds. But
watching Tyson Fury in those later rounds be like a little like a little wobbly. Yeah, that was just a scary sight. I mean, he is such a massive man, and to see someone that big be like so wobbly and kind of like pretty much out of it was insane to see.
Well, towards in the last couple of rounds, his best bet was probably to fall on Usyk and crush him. I mean, there's such a size disparity that
would the ref to have to get like a cancellation of the match.
And I do think that Fury was very lucky that the ref stepped in and stopped at one point when he was wobbly and kind of went up against the ropes, and he was one or two punches from being knocked out at that point.
Yeah.
And if they hadn't had that brief pause, he definitely would have gone down. But I didn't really understand how it was a split decision. I have to admit, watching the fight, I thought that Usyk in the end had won it, fairly comfortably. So the split decision bit bothered me a bit. I'm sure we'll see a rematch now between the two of them, and maybe Tyson Fury.
I don't know, man. I don't know if Fury wants to fight his brother. I mean, did you see the post-fight conversation they had with each other?
No,
I thought Fury was gonna propose to him. He was like, it was taking the I respect you to the next level. He was like, hey man, you're amazing. You come over to my house and your family can have dinner and stay at my place, and then I'll come over to your place and my family can stay with you and we can enjoy each other's company. And it's all right, relax a little bit, man. Here, what are you trying to do?
Yeah, and Usyk had broken his jaw, which actually makes when I mean that is in Tyson Fury broke Usyk's jaw, as in Usyk's jaw had been broken, which made it. The fact that he showed seemingly no ill effects of that over the course of that fight is pretty crazy. But yeah, it's good to see when you do get I'm not a huge boxing fan, but when big fights do roll around, it is enjoyable.
You mean Jake Paul and Mike Tyson?
Yeah, we'll speak about that a lot
in July.
Sure. Yeah, can't wait. Already got the box office ordered.
What I was going to say about the Wrexham is I haven't watched the new season of the show yet, so I'm excited to see what's going to happen.
Yeah, yeah. Who knows? Maybe they'll change it in the show.
That would be so funny if they're they're showing the real match and all of a sudden they cut and it's clearly not the match anymore. It's like a movie set.
Wouldn't totally surprise me.
Yeah, that's funny. But I guess I haven't watched much television really, except I've been traveling. But I did start season 1 of Outer Range, which is an Amazon show with Josh Brolin. Because season 2 has just come out, and one of the podcast personalities that I usually trust with their TV opinions had said that this was a show they really liked, that it was kind of out there and a little strange. So I started season 1, and it is indeed a strange show. It's kind of like Yellowstone meets Dark. It's kind of the vibe I'm getting here.
Okay, interesting. I've not even heard of this show, I have to say.
Yeah, I had heard about it, and when I had seen the previews, I thought it was just like another Yellowstone because it's takes place in Montana or Wyoming. Oh boy!
In the modern day, though.
Modern day, yes.
Oh, damn it!
Sorry, but they all, Eddie, wear cowboy hats.
Yeah, it's not the cowboy hat that does it for me. It's really it's the Western vibe, and I need it to be set in the 19th century for that. So I can't. I'm not that easy. It's not just throw on a cowboy hat and I'll watch you, act. I need a tiny bit more.
But other than that, I have not watched much. So
no, I did finally watch. This is a little bit of a niche recommendation for our listeners. I did finally watch. I think it was the History Channel originally did this semi-documentary, semi-acted out.
Don't say Rome. Don't say Rome.
Three-part miniseries on Ulysses S. Grant. It was produced by Leonardo DiCaprio, and I really enjoyed it. That was my Saturday morning. I watched 4.5 hours of that on Saturday morning. I was awake at 7 a.m. and I watched it all morning. At 7, when I say awake at 7, it was turned on at 7 a.m. and I just didn't stop. Really enjoyed it.
For an anti-American, Impressive.
Well, an underappreciated American, so maybe that's why I like him so much. But yeah, if you have any interest in American history, Civil War history, 19th century American history, there was a lot of stuff. Again, I feel relatively informed about that period in time. There was a lot of stuff I did not know. I didn't even know, real name, not Ulysses S. Grant. So there's the S was an accident when he joined West Point.
What a great fact. That took you 4 hours to learn.
Oh no, you learned that one pretty early. That's pretty early in his life. I particularly enjoyed it because if you recall, a couple of years ago, we spoke about it. We didn't speak about it on the podcast, but we have on the softball team I play on here. There was a guy from Virginia, an older guy, and at one moment, while we were having a beer afterwards, went Ulysses S. Grant. He was just a fucking drunk, didn't know what he was doing. And then it was and then went on a rant. And it was such a bizarre rant for me to witness. And they obviously addressed the drinking side of his personality in the documentary. But yeah, really interesting. We don't recommend factual content very often. But yeah, if history is your thing, I don't think you'll be disappointed. Anything else?
No, I think that's it.
I have one quick Vasilis story, which is that the other day he sent me a message with like a link to a product, and it was like this. It's going to be hard for me to describe this without visual aid, but it was like a holder you put your phone in, and then it had 2 grips either side of it. And then it has like a penis bump underneath it. So basically that you can watch porn on your phone, just hold it on top of your dick and then just have it bump away on you. And
wait. So it's basically, hold on, if I'm getting this right, it's like if you put a phone holder on a fleshlight.
A little bit, yeah, but it's pumping up and down. And it's like actually moving up and down. It's a little bit like watching those. It looks like a miniature version of those little things that like scuba divers, the underwater vehicles they use where they hold on to those and scoot around. It's like a very miniature version of that, just intended on sort of
on giving yourself stimulation, self-stimulation.
And I couldn't understand. He didn't. There was no words attached to this message. He just sent this to me.
Oh, that means it's coming in your mail quite soon. That's what that means. Be on the lookout for this package. I sent it to you because I didn't want anyone that I know seeing me get it.
But it made me question why he was sending it to me. It made me question why he had seen it in the first place. Like, what is going on in his life? What is he searching
Tim probably sent it to him. let's be real.
Tim probably designed it. So.
Oh, is that a Schwartz? It's like he's the Nike of that product. Just do it.
Yeah, fighting hard to get that name, getting the rights to that. But yeah, no, it was an interesting thing for him to send me, and I really wasn't entirely sure why he did. But yeah, in case any listeners feel like that's the kind of thing they could use in their lives, then
does it have a product name?
Do you really want me to look at this? I'm slightly reluctant to check this, but okay, I will do a quick, because it just bothers me because this means that I am going to get sent suggestions like this now. This is just.
I love it on your Instagram, like the shopping is gonna be.
Yeah, this is going to just completely destroy the type of things I'm receiving. It is called.
It was called like battery powered self stimulator with iPhone holder.
I'm just using this as an opportunity to show it to Frank, just how insane it is. It doesn't appear to have a name on it. So there's a link on the homepage, and I am not going to look at that link. The hashtags associated with it are second men's gym, long legs girl, California, Texas, Florida girl, New York City life, men over 30, men over 40, gym, health tips, fitness equipment, single equipment.
That's why he got it. You know, the gym. It came up with the gym.
Yeah.
Man, this is
Single equipment workout, Illinois beer, trainer, Illinois sports, exercise, yacht. Oh, he was looking for a yacht. That's how he came across it. Camera porn, legs, heels, and secretary. Interesting combination of hashtags there.
wow. That should be the new theme of the podcast. Just picking a random thing and looking at all the hashtags. Who they're trying to get to. Illinois beer is a very strange one.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we live in a weird, weird world. And it doesn't get any more normal. It's a strange old place.
All right. Well, with that little fun tidbit, I think we should call it a day.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I'll talk to you later.
See ya.